definitely a video which I'm going to eat a cherry bakewell. Because it's my channel and I can do what I like. So, hello Cinnamon Bun. We're doing a video on the settings. World building for your novel is of course a huge topic. Some of you have asked me to do a video on world building before, and I've always said I don't like doing videos on things that I don't feel like I have something genuinely helpful to offer you guys, and I don't think I am particularly skilled or have any particular insight into world building. At least the kind of world building that is about creating the rules in which your world works, whether it's science fiction or fantasy or whatever. But there are the mechanics of how your world works, and then there are the locations in which your scenes take place. And on that topic and settings, I do actually have some things to share with you. Now obviously, the settings in which your story takes place are going to depend on the world building rules, the mechanics of how your world works, what kind of world it is, to some extent. So keep that in mind. If you struggle to find inspiration for your settings, or to keep them organised, or to keep them consistent, then this video should be helpful. Something I've been experimenting with recently is trying to reduce how much multitasking I'm doing while drafting. So if you think about it, when you're drafting, you are juggling a bunch of different tasks. You are trying to get the action down, the dialogue down, you're trying to describe where the characters are, and you're giving descriptions of the settings, descriptions of the characters, maybe incorporating some internal monologue. I personally feel that I am not very good at balancing all these different tasks at the same time. So what I've been trying to do is draft mainly in dialogue and action, and try and leave the description parts until later, or work on them earlier. I actually got the idea for breaking building your settings apart from the drafting process from a video by Kat O'Keefe, or Katie-tastic. So I'll link to that below. So here are some of the ways that I have found to make the processes of building and eventually incorporating your settings as easy as possible. Number 1, how and where to organise the settings that you build. So there are two choices here. You can either incorporate them directly into your outline, or you can create a separate location bank and then link that to your outline. And it's worth thinking about the format of your outline when you decide this. For instance, if you're outlining digitally in Scrivener, you've kind of got infinite space, so it might make just as much sense to incorporate your settings straight into your outline. If you are working on paper or small cards or something where you have limited space, it might make more sense to a separate location bank, and then making sure that you are referencing the relevant pages in your location bank in your outline. How do you set up a location bank? Well, keep it very simple. This could easily just be a section in your story bible or codex or binder if you have paper notes for your novel, in which each location is just given a number. And on each outline card, you just simply write the number of the location in which that scene takes place. Number 2, how much setting you need to build. I can't decide if this one's going to be controversial or not. I think it will be for different reasons for different people. 3 details. That's it. 3 of the most vivid and interesting and specific details about this location. And when you're writing, of course, you can go into as much detail as you like. You don't want to beat your reader over the head with it, because it will get boring after a while, but you don't have to limit yourself in that way. But if you're prepping, if you're planning, if you are building stuff ahead of time or separately from drafting, stick to 3. When I started creating my own location bank, I really struggled with when to know when to stop building one location and moving on to the next one. And so I got stuck on my first few for a long time. And I generated a lot of material that I ended up never even using in my draft. If your novel is a journey kind of story, this could be a real time suck for you. Giving yourself a strict limit of 3 details per location can force you to build quickly and efficiently and then move on to the next thing. It can be a total lifesaver. Number 3, let's talk about which details are important. Which details do you build? So you want to focus on details which break the stereotype of the kind of place that you're describing, not things that you would typically fill in for yourself when given the word bedroom, for instance. The word bedroom is not a simple idea. It's a cluster of concepts, including things like a room, with a bed in it. It's probably got a bedside table, it might have a lamp, it's probably got a window. So unless there's something notable about the bed that says something about a character, you should never describe a bedroom by saying there was a bed in it. Location categories like bedroom, hospital, petrol station, public toilet, kitchen, these are all shorthand for a handful of common features which all readers will basically fill in for themselves. So you want to focus on the details that they can't fill in for themselves. What makes this bedroom different from the generic idea of a bedroom? What makes this public toilet different from the generic idea of a public toilet? 4. Where to get inspiration and collect references. It should go without saying that if you see something when you're out and about that you find cool or interesting, you should feel free to write it down and mangle it and fit it into your novel somehow. But if you're looking for inspiration on a particular place or a certain kind of place, I would recommend starting with Instagram rather than Google for research. Google will often tend to give you a bird's eye view of a place, at least if you search in images. But unless your characters are birds, this might not be very helpful. If you're trying to be accurate, Street View can be really good for logistics, but often not for building those interesting and specific details. Instagram, however, is completely generated by people taking pictures of things that they find interesting from their point of view. So search the tag of the place name or the closest place name to the imaginary place that you are looking for, like hashtag Glasgow or hashtag Tokyo, and you will get an everyday from the ground view of what people in that place find most interesting or inspiring. Pinterest is also full of amazing photos, but they tend to be a bit less authentic and a bit less about sharing those individual experiences, which can be really valuable. Number 5, what to do with those references. For ones that are immediately applicable, i.e. they apply to a specific scene that you've already got, you're going to want to stick it in a place where you're going to find it when you're writing that scene. Maybe it's printing it out and pasting it into your location bank, maybe it is copying and pasting it into your Scrivener document notes for that scene. Just make sure that when you get to writing that scene, you can look at that picture. When you find images that you really like and find inspiring and want to use at some point, but they don't really have a particular place where they fit right now, I recommend dedicating a small space in wherever, your novel bullet journal, your novel binder, your story bible, your codex, whatever, to inspiration. In that place, describe what you see in the photo in the most concise way possible. Sentences, not paragraphs. How would you describe this if you were trying to write about it? If you think you're going to want to refer to it again, you can also write the place in which to find it. Say, this Pinterest board or that Tumblr blog. I guess you could call this an inspiration bank. And it's a good idea to flip through this every so often and look at what you've got and just noodle on it a bit, maybe make a note about maybe it fits with this character, or maybe it finally does fit into a particular scene. Maybe you still don't know, but it will click into place later on. As soon as you find a place for it to go, stick it in your outline and score it out in your inspiration bank. This is a really good way to make sure that you're using all that stuff you're pinning on Pinterest or reblogging on Tumblr or saving in Instagram. Number 6. What you're allowed to use in your novel. You can steal any location that you like in real life or in a photo for your novel. Although if you start including brand names and businesses, it starts to get a little bit complicated. There's copyright, but that's a whole other video. But you can do this as long as you describe the place, the element, the thing in your own words in your writing. But you have to remember that these photos do not belong to you. It's fine to screenshot things, to use them for your own personal use, which is, to remix them, to describe them, to use it in your novel. But it is definitely not okay to repost these images without credit on social media, to use them for your book cover or for your book promotion. When it comes to using photos for inspiration, the sky's the limit. But when it comes to actually using photos themselves for posting places and stuff, it's not yours. You need to stick to the rules. Number 7, incorporating these settings as you draft. So, if you have everything set up right, whenever you reach a particular scene in your outline will either contain or refer you to those 3 details about that setting. From there, you could paste them in and use them to start the scene, or you can incorporate them in amongst action and dialogue. 3 details might not seem like a lot, but it's plenty to get you up and running There's nothing that slows me down more than trying to answer the question, what is this place like, and what's actually happening here at the same time. Those are two different questions, my friend. So yeah, those are my tips for building locations for your scenes, for creating settings. I hope you found them helpful, and I would love to hear if you have any of your own in the comments below. And that's it for this video. As always, I'm Rachel Stephen, novelist, YouTuber, Woodland Hellbitch. And this video was part of my series for Preptober, which is a nano prep project in October where we all prep for NaNoWriMo. If you've managed to get this far without joining us, come talk to us on the Twitter, it's at prep_tober, and if you join the email list you will be sure to not miss a single video or resource, because that's the best way to get those things. Okay, good luck with your settings, good luck with your stories, happy novelling. I wish you 50,000 words in November if that's what you're doing, and if not, then just have a nice day. Have a cup of tea and a cinnamon Danish. I'll see you later. Took me 4 minutes to fuck about like that. Okay. What was I gonna say? Well, thank God this video shooting day is going better and is more fun than the last time, because oh my God.